as a recruiter, you need to understand you are representing your company and yourself, no matter if that person is your candidate, because it's not your candidate that you are looking for today, but it might be a candidate in your next job or here. So that's the hiring excellence mean to me, that data-driven candidate experience and basically the long-term relationship, that you treat everyone with respect and you try to help others. That's basically the easiest way how you can achieve your hiring excellence.
Welcome to Offer Accepted, the podcast that elevates your recruiting game. I'm your host, Shannon Ogborn. Join us for conversations with talent leaders, executives, and more to uncover the secrets to building and leading successful talent acquisition teams. Gain valuable insights and actionable advice from analyzing cutting-edge metrics to confidently claiming your seat at the table. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of Offer Accepted. I'm Shannon Ogborn, your host, and this episode is brought to you by Ashby, the all-in-one recruiting platform empowering ambitious teams from seed to IPO and beyond. I am super excited to be here today with Jan Tegze. He brings 20 years of experience in recruiting and is a multi-time published author, LinkedIn top voice for job seekers, builder of AI tools, and is currently the director of TA at Tricentis. He has been at the forefront of integrating AI into his role in life with a focus on sourcing innovation, capacity planning, empowering recruiters to leverage new technologies, and so much more. So I feel like he is the perfect person to talk to us about our topic today. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thanks for having me.
To set the stage a little bit, I would love if you could tell us about what you think is fundamentally changing about recruiting and how AI is really impacting that shift.
This is a very good question because AI is moving so fast that we literally just guessing, because what is happening now could be completely different within 2 years. What I'm seeing the fundamental shift is, in recruiting is moving from the manual screening to more intelligent matching and some kind of like intelligent engagement. Thanks to AI, and I'm talking AI general, I'm not talking about OpenAI or ChatGPT as we know, but AI is enabling, or the machine learning models are enabling predictive candidate identification. So it could run some automated initial assessment, personalized outreach at scale, and the focus is shift from reactive hiring to more proactive talent pipeline building. How it's going to evolve, that's the question. But what we are going to see is we are going to see less high volume sourcing. The sourcing will still be there, but the tools in the future will help us to remove the manual stuff we as a recruiters and sources are doing.
This field is for sure changing very quickly. And with that, I know one of the things that we had talked about is the importance of TA professionals upskilling in AI usage and new technologies at large. Why do you think that's so important in this time as we're kind of getting into the acceleration stage of AI?
I truly believe that upskilling is important regardless if it's AI here or not, but especially in AI world or AI era, the upskilling is important and it's not longer optional for any TA professional or for honestly for anyone, because it's becoming as fundamental as email or sourcing knowledge, or every recruiter knows how to operate and go on LinkedIn, find the candidates there, how to outreach them. So this is the basic knowledge that every recruiter needs. And knowing how to operate with AI, how to write prompts will be an essential skill set that every recruiter needs. And that's one of the reasons why I also decided to write a book about how to communicate with AI, because that will be a key knowledge for everyone, not just for us in a recruitment world. And those who will not going to adapt basically risk they became obsolete. They will be obsolete and they will be replaced by people who knows how to operate the AI. So not AI itself. At some point, yes, there is a risk that some of those recruiters and sources will be replaced, but definitely those who are not master AI tools will be obsolete for sure. So they really need to understand how those tools are working and explore how they can implement in their work. And they should not be waiting until their leaders or their companies will go and invest into them, or buy the course or send them to some training. They really need to go and educate themselves to increase their value on the market for sure.
For sure. And one clarification point here, especially around this topic, it's overwhelming, but also the conversations like this aren't to induce fear, right? They're to encourage people to do what they need to do to be successful in their role and future thinking in the market. Like, we're not trying to scare people, we're trying to empower
Of
them
course not.
to do what's necessary to be the best they can be in their role.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I'm not also going to tell you like, hey, you're going to be replaced, because it's like when interns started, right? Those recruiters who were just posting their ads to the newspaper, now they need to embrace the new reality. So for us who grew up with the internet, this is the new reality, and it's changing the market, changing the way how we interact with candidates and how candidates are interacting with us, because I believe majority of the candidates are just sending the messages. They are customized by AI, created by AI from the scratch, or they use AI fixed grammar, because I'm not a native speaker and I'm using AI very often just to rephrase the emails, the messages, find the typos, fix the grammar. So I'm using AI so heavily that when I was counting how much time I'm saving every week is literally like 21, 22 hours every week.
Absolutely. And it also is in that way improving quality of life. It's helping you be more productive. You're able to get more done, but for some people it means that they're able to spend more time with their family or partner or friends, or they're able to engage in more of their hobbies because they're not spending every waking moment on these mundane tasks that now can be taken over by something else. I would love to get a little bit deeper into the how of upskilling. Upskilling in new tools, like we were talking about earlier, generally, whether it be AI or something else, can feel very overwhelming. If you, who you're definitely an early adopter of AI, but if you were starting from scratch today to learn about AI tooling, where would you begin? What resources would you look at? What should people really be focusing on to upskill?
So the main problem is that we have a FOMO. We feel the FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So there are so many new tools that many people are jumping from ChatGPT to Claude to Mistral to Llama or any other tool out there. They are testing tools, but they are never kind of like trying to understand how to get maximum from it. So every single time there is a news or LinkedIn post, somebody is sharing, hey, I'm using this new tool to generate amazing video about cats, whatever. But the problem is they don't understand the fundamentals of those prompts, how they are built, created, what are the best practices. And that was the reason why I started writing the book, because I want to give people the manual to start with basics, because if you have good fundamentals, you can build on that. And this is super, super important, because if you have the fundamentals, you can go on ChatGPT and get better results. You can go to Claude, get better results. You can go to Gemini, get better results from it than majority of the users. But you are not only get better results, but you will start writing better prompts that will help you to dig deep into topics, find more relevant information, and you will start experimenting. And one of the things that I definitely recommend to everyone is start experimenting with basics AI tasks, like, hey, job description auto optimization or candidate outreach is the perfect example. Because the moment when you start reaching out people, you will go and type create or write an outreach message for a finance manager in London with 5 years experience, and this is the profile of the candidate or something. And you will get generic message. But when you start adding things like, can you use the casual tone or use the readability level, use other parameters, for example, let's start with some hook in the message. And you have template that will be at the end longer, most likely longer than the message itself. But the time you invested into that, you will have a prompt that you can use for any outreach message. So you will just change the parameters like the name of the person, company, years of experience, and you will every single time you will get this really good quality message. And if you have that prompt, the one thing you should do is go to all, let's say, 3 or 4 or whatever, how many of those AIs are there, and run that prompt, Gemini, ChatGPT, and you can go and try, for example, Claude as well, and run it and see what kind of result you will get. Because maybe you will find out that some AI tool is way better for your outreach message or writing outreach message than the others. So those little experiments will help you to be better and learn faster, because it's by basically you learn by doing. And the reason why I recommended that part is because that's the way how I learn to operate with all of those tools. And I will give you, and we already chat before, I want to learn how to generate better images with proper text. So because AI has a problem with text. So if you add some quote, usually there is lots of issues, lots of problems, etc. So I spent several weeks test dozens of tools and learn how to generate images with the accurate text. And I start doing that just because my goal was like, hey, what if I'm going to generate those images and start selling mugs with recruitment or job search teams? So what if the result will be that shop? Because I want to also learn how to build it from the scratch. So I spent several weeks learn how to generate those images, and I also turn it into not profitable business, definitely not. But I believe only one person bought the Mac, and I'm pretty sure that was my mom. Uh, but in the reality, I spend the time, learn a lot by doing, and the result was those marks. That's just byproduct, but that was the goal that I was trying to achieve. And two more things: how to upskill yourself, join communities, and take some courses or AI, or find the people who understand and chat with them. Don't just follow those LinkedIn gurus, Insta, TikTok gurus, whatever. They are saying these are 10 prompts that will change your life, because those are the people who has no clue how to write prompts. So that would be the way how you can upskill yourself very easily and quite cheap.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many tools out there, and I love what you said about prompting several tools with the same prompt, because then you start to learn what tools are good for
Yep.
what types of prompts. It's such a funny thing though, because I've heard a lot of people online, especially on LinkedIn, say, I can tell if this is an AI prompt, or I can tell if this is an AI prompt. And sometimes you can, and sometimes it's genuinely just not the best content. But in order for you to get good results out of AI, you have to be able to prompt it well, and you have to iterate. The first response is rarely ever, unless it's a fact, it's rarely ever the response that you want or need.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you. It's not accurate as we want, but it's all about the prompting, how you set the prompt, how you are specified, how specifically you describe what you need, and also the tool and the machine learning model you are using, for a large language model you are using, because there are so many of them, and they also they will get you different results.
Definitely. One thing that we didn't talk about before, but has just come up as a burning question, is around security. I think, especially in talent, when we're working with a lot of PII, what should people be looking out for as they're utilizing AI specifically for talent?
Well, it depends on if you are building the tool, or if you are in the, let's say, in the company and you are running the team, or you are part of the team. There are different situations. First of all, if you are part of the organization, speak with your security team and your legal team, and work with your TA leaders, because this is super important. There is no way how you can prevent people to put information into the AI, because of course they can go and put the file like, hey, run me, or run this, or review that profile, or the candidate profile, and get me the results. That's not okay. You should not be ever, never, without any permission, or even if you get permission, you should not be feeding AI by the personal, or giving the personal data of your candidates in any case. They could be elements or tools. There are some rules that those data can't be used for training, or misused in any way. So you need to be very careful about the rules that your organization implemented and what the tools have in their terms, because of course sometimes they can be like, hey, I'm going to be using your data for training or retraining, and that's not okay. But at the end, AI is getting all the data it can. So it's scraping the data from LinkedIn, from other sites. So the data are already there. So it's very hard to kind of like limit it. And I'm expecting when AI will be getting better and better, our data will be most likely part of those databases, even if we, would like to remove ourselves, the data will be somewhere. So it's internet.
Like you said, it's so important to talk to your security and legal teams and make sure that you aren't, and again, this isn't on purpose, right? People aren't maliciously putting people's data in for recruiting. However, there are some potential unintended consequences that
Yep.
teams need to be aware of before they get started. And actually think that's the importance of TA leaders today talking to their team about who's already using it, because lots of people use ChatGPT not on a company plan, and maybe their TA leaders don't even know that they're using, ChatGPT, Gemini, or otherwise to put information into to get outputs. And so I think as a TA leader, really knowing who on your team is currently using AI tools, what they're using them for, etc., is important foresight into how you can manage that situation.
Shannon, everyone is using AI. It's not who is using AI, everyone is using AI. And the people who are saying we are not using AI, they are the people who are using the most. So it's like AI tools, and you mentioned ChatGPT, it's free and it's basically saving your time. And it's all about saving time because, especially in these days, all the TA teams are lean. There is still a lot of work to do. So AI is helping and saving some time, and I'm sure that 99% of all recruiters out there are using AI at some point for outreach messages, running some or turning their notes into a little bit better notes. So it is what it is.
For sure. I think that's actually a message to TA leaders out there as well, though. Like, if you think your team isn't using AI because you haven't talked about it, they probably still are. And it's worth a conversation to make sure that you are not accidentally putting out information into a model that's going to take it and use it otherwise in ways that you might not have intended.
Yep.
In terms of how talent teams can identify the right tool for their needs, do you have any advice on bringing new tools on? What if someone prefers Gemini and someone prefers ChatGPT? Like, does everyone need to be on the same page of the tools that they're using?
It doesn't make sense that half of the team will get Gemini and the other half will get ChatGPT. My recommendation would be just try to understand what your team or evaluate what your teams want. Evaluate based on concrete specific metrics. You want to save the time, you want better quality output, and how the quality output looks like. Is it easy to use? And what is basically, overall, what is the problem you are trying to solve? They might be, using it in the way that you have no clue that is even possible, and they are getting the results. So speak with the team, have a like kind of like sharing session with them, and run some kind of like small recruitment task. Okay, so you want to use AI. So for what? Writing job description. How are we going to do that? Screaming resume. What tool we can use if the tool is compliant, and try to test several tools. Try to consider integrate those tools within your overall existing system. Because if you have ATS and there are four other tools that you would like to use and they are not connected with your ATS, try to find some that is, because it will save you hours or maybe months over the time when you'll be using, and this is important. And before you implement it, start small pilot programs for each tools to understand if the recruiters will be even using it, and if the outcome you will get is the outcome that will help you. And again, it needs to be tailored and customized or connected, so not tailored, connected with the base specified concrete metrics and what results you want to achieve. if you want to save the time and how the tool will save you the time. If you are looking for some output, what will be the output? And if that tool can give you that output and the output will be X, or if you use the different tool, can be X plus 10. And that's important. And what I'm seeing when companies are implementing AI tools, they're always, hey, the AI tool can do note taking. Perfect. They implement it. But there is a tool that is way better than that one and it's cheaper, bring better quality result, and they also have XYZ. So you can get way more instead of implementing the first tool that is trending or is fancy. And this year I was counting, if I collect the information right, I review somewhere around 127 tools, or they were recommended to me, or I was contacted by those people over LinkedIn, and they were like, "Oh, this is a groundbreaking tool." I would say that from all those 127 plus minus, only 3 tools were tools that I would say, yes, that's interesting and that's bringing something new. The rest is basically bootstrapped platform using OpenAI API, and that's it. So that's the reason why I always recommend everyone spend the time on selecting the tools. And if you planning to, and especially if it's very expensive, like new ATS, or go and speak with their customers, because those customers will be the one that will tell you, well, I can't do this in the ATS. And you will learn a lot from those users because they are already facing some pain points that you will be facing too. But if you are not going to be facing them, if you are not going to acquire that AI tool, so spend the time and invest the time or run the small pilots program before you fully implement it. And that's really important.
It's totally true. The due diligence is so important. And the other thing, too, and I know this from working at Ashby, is there are companies who already have tools that are putting in AI features, and it's worth exploring what new features have come out before you look at a completely separate tool. Maybe your existing tools actually have what you're looking for.
Yep.
Because I think people can sometimes be quick to jump to doing an RFP or looking at outside tools, but they forget to reevaluate their current system. And even as we were talking about sourcing, we came out with a report where we found that using generative AI tokens in Ashby yielded a 46% lift in reply rate, which is, people think, okay, it's AI, people aren't going to respond, they're not going to like it, when in fact, actually, people felt it was more personalized to them because that's what the AI tokens do. It makes
Yep.
the outreach more personal. So there is this sort of balance between the human elements and the technology elements. And I'm curious of the intersection, the human to AI intersection here. While AI is obviously super impactful, recruiting is still a people first industry, at least, as we see it today. How do you see AI in the human element intersecting as we go throughout, let's just say, 2025?
You're right. Recruitment is about relationship and it's a human business, right? AI and human elements intersect mostly effectively with when AI handles those repetitive tasks, those the ones that we discussed, while human focus on building relationship and making judgment goals. And this is important because lots of people are trusting and the number of people will be growing and will trust the result that AI will give them way more. But we are the expert. We should be making those judgment calls, not AI. AI can give me 10 people, 10 profiles at the source, and that most likely will be the reality. You will post the role within the day, the AI agents, because that will be the thing most likely in the next year. Those AI agents will go out, scour the internet, LinkedIn, all the databases, your database, and build you the list of top 10 people or 20 people that will be relevant for the role. You will just review, hit yes, yes, yes. AI will generate those personal outreach emails, send it, and then if the person is interested, they will set the meeting with you, and that's it. But AI should augment human capability recruiting, not replace them. Every single time, over my entire career, every single time when there was a tool saying we are here to replace recruiters, that's the tool that is not longer on the market. Then they failed because you are not going to sell that to recruiters by, hey, this is the tool that is going to replace you. That's like nonsense. And you can't replace the recruiters because even the super smart AI will need to be communicated with hiring managers. It will need to be omnipresent everywhere to understand the culture, what is going on, those relationship elements within the teams, within the groups, division, etc. So one more time, AI should augment human capabilities in recruiting, not replace them. And one example, AI can identify those candidates very easily, right? Humans evaluate the culture fit and build the genie connection with the people. The human intersection with AI will be bigger and bigger every year, but AI should be used to handle those repetitive tasks or help recruiters to focus on one thing that is super important, building relationship with other humans. And by other humans, I don't mean only candidates, but I also mean people within their company, and especially with candidates, because recruitment is a long run. You are building the relationship with people that might be your candidate, not next week, but maybe next year.
Totally. And I think this is an important note that just as having a negative interaction with a person at your company can create a negative feeling that might actually impact your relationship with that candidate or even employee forever, the same could actually be true for AI. And we know that we are in a state of ability to post anywhere on socials. And so if people feel like they're getting outreaches that are very clearly AI generated and without any oversight, and that's the key, oversight, people get very frustrated and it could actually damage your company's reputation for the long term. And so I always think moving forward with AI with sort of this cautious optimism of yes, we should lean in, but you also have to one, be watching it closely. You are the manager of the AI that you are using.
But Shannon, you mentioned one thing that is super important. You mentioned you are going to manage AI. As a recruiter, you will have a AI agent for sourcing, AI for interview, AI agent for interview, AI for scheduling. So in the future, everyone will be a manager.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I have one more burning question, and maybe this is kind of getting to a hot take early, but should we be being nice to AI in our prompts?
I'm always trying to be nice because you most likely see the Terminator Skynet, so you never know. But I read a study that being nice on AI will give you the better results. And I also read the other study that is saying that is not going to give you the better results. But the reason for being nice on AI will help you to structure prompts better. So you are basically creating better prompts and you are structuring those prompts better. That's the reason why you should be being nice on AI. And honestly, you should be nice on people. You should be nice on AI as well, right? So I'm trying to sometimes from time to time, I'm trying to say, hey, thank you. And I will get like, hey, you are welcome. And it's like feel more like conversation. And yes, sometimes like everyone else, people snap like, oh my God, especially with Siri, that why you're not replying to me. But I do recommend to being nice on AI as well because you never know.
It's true. It's true. I'm 100% with you there. Getting to a couple of the questions that we love to ask all of our guests. At Ashby, we talk a lot about hiring excellence, and we always love to hear from our guests. When you hear hiring excellence, what does that mean to you?
Well, it's a really complex topic. I do believe that hiring excellence means several things. First of all, it's about creating an exceptional candidate experience from the first touch, first moment when you visit the person to onboarding. Making data-driven decision while maintaining human connection is also super important because it's a human business, but you also need to have data to drive your decision, to make sure that you are building pipeline, you have a time to fill, time to slate, all those things are important because you have your KPIs, but you also need to have in mind that you are working with the humans. So there might be elements that will influence that. And what I consider as a hiring excellence is building long-term relationship rather than just filling the position. I'm replying to every single person who contact me over the LinkedIn. They send me the connection invite. I are replying to them, hey, I can't accept your invitation because I already hit the 30,000 network limit on LinkedIn. And majority, 99% of those messages I'm getting are positive. They think, but sometimes people are like, hey, I sent you the invite because I'm trying to solve the problem. I need the resume advice. I need this and that. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to reply to those people, but I'm trying to point out them on the materials and the sites that I built, the content that I created. And when I calculated, I'm sending every day between 5 and 10 candidates to our career site, to the company site. Lots of those people are also becoming our followers. They see the adverts. And from time to time, those people became our candidates and our employees. So I truly believe it's about building long-term relationship. And as you mentioned, being nice on AI, I'm trying to be nice on the humans as well. So this is the long-term relationship you are trying to build. And as a recruiter, you need to understand you are representing your company and yourself, no matter if that person is your candidate, because it's not your candidate that you are looking for today, but it might be a candidate in your next job or here. So that's the hiring excellence mean to me, that data-driven candidate experience and basically the long-term relationship, that you treat everyone with respect and you try to help others. That's basically the easiest way how you can achieve your hiring excellence.
I love that. Well, you have had over 2 decades of experience in recruiting and talent, so I feel like you probably have some thoughts here. I would love to hear, what is your recruiting hot take?
The future of the recruiting will be most likely less about sourcing, which AI will largely automate. It You still need to know how to work with the Boolean operators and understand the logic, because you will be using those things, finding a niche talent and using those elements or the Boolean operators when you'll be speaking with your AI or running through your ATS systems, database, etc. So you still need to understand that part. But the future of recruiting, most likely, again, I'm not a prophet, so most likely will be less about the sourcing and more about being strategic talent advisors who can interpret AI insight. You'll be interpreting the AI insight and build meaningful relationship with your stakeholders, with the candidates. You will need to be a talent advisor. Those recruiters who stop becoming talent advisors or never became talent advisors, they will be gone. And the most successful recruiters in near future will be those who will embrace AI while doubling down on their unique human skill set, the empathy, and basically the ones that who knows how to build the relationship. Because the moment when everyone is able to find any candidates within few prompts or few like Boolean operators like within seconds, and it can automate the outreach, everybody will be doing that. That you as a candidate will be most likely replying to those you already know, or you know them, you know their face, they are influencers or influence your life at some positive way, hopefully. Understanding AI is a key, but you need to doubling down on the human skills and the communication, empathy, and able to understand the human psychology, how humans are making the decision will be important.
Absolutely. Well, I think we are coming up on our time. Where should people go to learn more about you and your work?
I still kind of like recommend to visit LinkedIn. That will be, the primary source. And I have several newsletters. So I'm also sharing those information on LinkedIn, so they will find all the information that they want to find there.
Amazing. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I think this is going to be really insightful to our listeners, especially around upskilling and what teams can do to appropriately implement AI.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. This episode was brought to you by Ashby, what an ATS should be, a scalable, all-in-one tool that combines powerful analytics with your ATS, scheduling, sourcing, and CRM. To never miss an episode, subscribe to our newsletter at www.ashbyhq.com/podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.